What is up, Mike Cutouts Cardboard Ninja here, coming at you with Dev Vlog for November 2024, Part 1. So they're going to probably complete the Dev Vlog in December, and usually there's going to be 3 parts, and it looks as though we're going back to the Syndicate. You see this on screen for those of us familiar. This is the Janabi cabin. No, it isn't. Psych your mind. It just happens to look identical to the Janabi cabin. No, you're wrong. This is the Satori. The Satori cabin, which means enlightenment in Japanese, is a brand new legendary light cabin. And it's going to have the exact same perk as the Janabi. Son of a bitch. So it's going to have almost the exact same perk as the Janabi. So the largest issue with the Janabi right now is that you must only use wheels. This is going to also simultaneously only be triggered with wheels. And you must drift, which is to say, you know what drifting is. You turn your car, you skid. You must drift in order to receive your damage bonus, and it's a 20% flat bonus. But if you ever stop drifting for any reason, you lose that bonus in its entirety. This one is going to give you a unknown number damage bonus, because they don't say. But we're going to assume 20%. And you lose the bonus gradually instead. And then in addition to that, you gain more more damage bonus the longer you are drifting. So it's not binary 20% 0. So we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, I, for one, like the Janabi cabin. I actually do. I like the geometry of it. I like the shape of it. I like... it's actually a pretty decent cabin. It's just overshadowed by a fuckload of cabins. And this one is just the same. Will I say that it is entirely DOA? I don't think it is. It's legendary. That's... I mean... Hard to say. I mean, usually you're going to want to have the ability to put your cabin on hovers, or put your cabin on something other than wheels. And that's actually what held the Janabi back, in addition to the fact that, you know, the perk can be difficult to activate. Driving straight is kind of a thing that you do. This is based on the fact that almost all wheels on all vehicles in real life go straight. Right? You kind of have linear motion. And so trying to drive in a direction opposite that your wheels are facing in order to get your damage bonus is going to be really frustrating. So let's be completely honest. This will not be meta. Like, I'm just going to call this right now. It's not going to be a meta cabin, even if the damage bonus is 50%. Well, maybe. Okay. I'll take it back. If the damage bonus is 50%, it will be used. People will force themselves to learn how to drift. But if the damage bonus is 20 to probably 25%, or let's say 20 scaling to 30%, it's going to be fun. You're going to see some people driving it for fun, but it's never going to be meta. It just can't be. Driving sideways is a bitch. It's kind of like the tempura and the tachi. Like, you'll never be able to attack someone with the side of your car with any reliability. And so that's the problem with the Satori, and the problem with the Janabi, and the problem with the weapons that I just listed. So I'm not seeing that going to be here for much more than just, you know, shits and giggles. But I mean, I'm always, you know, happy to see new stuff. The Oyabun, or the Oyabun, or however you want to pronounce it, legendary engine. New legendary engine. You can finally get rid of your hot red engines, because this engine also will have no energy cost. So what they're going to say is its perk, for those of us who don't know what the hot red's perk is, you get to accelerate up to 50% of your top speed or so when traveling backwards. The Oyabun will allow you to quickly recover after an unfortunate encounter with any obstacle. That's it. So the idea is that you're getting effectively the same perk, is the best way of phrasing it. So the hot red the mechanics of the hot red are being brought over into the Oyabun. And I actually don't like this, and there's a reason for this, because that would mean that the Oyabun is literally going to obsolete the hot red. Just completely obsolete it. There is no reason to bring the hot red at all. So a great example of non-obsolescence is when they released the new legendary engines, and the old epic engines are still useful. The Oppressor, for example, is still a phenomenal engine, even though the fin whale exists. The Colossus still does something that the newer, heavier engine doesn't do, which is a power increase. It just simply gives you more power. So there's actual edge cases for those engines to be used. If the Oyabun does what remotely what the hot red does, anything remotely what the hot red does, and takes no energy, it's going to obsolete it. Similarly to how the hot red kind of does that to the special variant of itself, which for the hardcore, right? So there you go. Unless you're aiming for a specific power score bracket in future, you wouldn't be using the hot red at all. You'll be using the Oyabun, and I don't like that because it doesn't have a perk. I mean, it does have a perk. It just overwrites the perk of the lesser engine, and they haven't done that before. And that's the reason why I don't like that. But it's coming. Say goodbye to the hot red. Rest in peace, hot red. And new structural parts. I know a lot of people out there who actually love the look of the Syndicate, and so getting new Syndicate front and back ends. And actually, in this case, it's just back ends and a hood. I think that'll make them happy. There you go. That's it. That's all they've announced. I've already kind of gone over what I think about it, so I guess I'll turn it over to you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good idea to be drifting again, or is that literally never gonna fucking work? Like, is it possible, or is it literally never gonna goddamn happen? Is it just, are they just trying to make something that literally could never happen, just part of the game, or is it in the realm of feasibility? Do you guys think it's feasible that mayhaps or perchance maybe you'll see people drifting around? But by the way, it's just a minor note. One of the primary reasons why this just does not goddamn work is because of the terrain, right? So Crossout is not a flat plane. No map is. So you've got your ups, you've got your downs, sometimes you've got big hills, sometimes you have small hills, you've got obstacles and all that shit like that. You hit any one of those fucking things, and anything that involves you driving in a specific way can go right the fuck out of the window. This is the reason why the Tachi does not function in this game. The only way the Tachi would function is this is just a minor note for those of us who actually want to know. Right now, Tachi, when it is mounted sideways, I think it has 8 pins. 8 to 10 pins like length. In reality, if you want the Tachi to be remotely like mountable on the side of a vehicle, it's got to have somewhere in the neighborhood of like 25 pins. I'm not even joking. Like double the maximum distance of the Tachi right now, and then it would be reasonable to attempt. Right now, you don't see the Tachi anywhere because it's not reasonable to attempt. Not even remotely close to worth trying to use because it just doesn't fucking work. And that's just having weapons pointing off the side of your build, right? That's just not feasible. Now imagine you've got a drift. This is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous idea. It's not going to work. It hasn't ever worked. It isn't meta then. It's not going to be meta now. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. Was it 2 years ago or something when the Master Cabin came out? I thought it was going to change Crossout. I'm like, what? You can repair your stuff? That's insane. And then it turns out that the nodes were in the wrong place and all that other good stuff like that. And it just turned out to not be good. But then they, increased it from a light cabin to a medium cabin, and then they made it so that there's actually nodes on top, and the Master Cabin actually has builds now. So who knows? I just don't think that the Drift Kings thing is the wisest move, and I also don't like obsoleting older gear in a 1-to-1 ratio. I think that the perk on the Oyabun, if it's going to cost 0 energy, should just do something different. What it does, I wouldn't know, but it should just do something different. Here's an idea: traction. Why not? Traction's something that's overlooked. Nobody really gives a shit about it. And you're getting a free engine, so whatever the perk is, it can't be that good. Hence the reason why the Hot Red's perk is kind of ass. So if you're getting a free perk on something that is gonna basically obsolete a previous set of gear, then change what it does. Make it so anyone mounting the Oyabun just has better traction. No one will notice. No one will care, but at least then it won't completely obsolete the Hot Red's perk, and people might find an edge case for when they would actually want to use the Hot Red. All right, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.